Hello, and welcome to the Ideal Forever Partner Magnet Podcast, the show where we explore the infinite benefits of creating the relationship of a lifetime, attracting our ideal forever partner like a magnet, and living our best life as the highest and best version of ourselves. I'm your host, Arell Holloway. I'm the results coach, fitness expert, former real estate investor, and founder of UTAIY, Unveiling the Angel in You, and the World Impact Compound Movement. This podcast is for overachievers and romantics that never learned the art of love relationships. That was me. Anyone wanting to improve their relationships and receiving and having, as well as giving unconditional love. And the biggest impact I can make in someone's life is to teach them how to manifest their ideal forever partner. So with this podcast, I'm dedicating to help souls around the world wake up to who you really are and what you really want in life, helping you on your path of learning about unconditional love by creating significant epic relationships that generate happy memories. Learn to speak the language of love and of love fluently, and why this will give you everything you ever wanted. Learn to speak the language of love fluently, and why this will give you everything you ever wanted. The golden nugget for this week is the secret to changing anything about ourselves is determining the thing that means enough to us in order for us to change. You know, we've talked about the love languages before, and we're just really moving on from there, and we're going deeper in how to quickly figure out what your love language is. In case you don't know what it is yet, let's quickly figure that out. Because the truth is, if you don't even know how you receive love from others, then you're making everybody else guess. Because if you don't even know, then how is anybody else going to know? So if you want to receive love from others, then you've got to get what your love language is, or the best way that you receive love. The truth is, if you can't receive love, then you can't give love. So that's true for all of us. So let's get into it. When we set out to learn new love languages, there are many methods out there that promote their way is the best. The one thing most of these agree with is that it takes practice to master any language. Before we master a new language, we have to determine the why we want to learn this new language to make it worth the trouble we are going to go through in order to learn it. What is your why? So maybe before you didn't even have any interest in love languages, or maybe you haven't even heard about them. So, I mean, the concept of a love language is pretty out there, but I think that deep diving into it, I think that just for an example, I have this couple that I'm working with that met through my Irresistible program. They are so in love with each other, and they are so thrilled. They each have someone that's training themselves to be their highest and best. That's the kind of partner that each of them have. So it's pretty awesome, but you would be shocked. And they okay me to talk about this because they're so grateful for everything that they're learning, and that they just feel like they've never gotten anywhere else. Or maybe they weren't ready to hear it from anyone else. But whatever the case, they were so happy that their lives were fulfilling in a way that they'd never thought that it actually would. And the reason I want to mention this is because they are having a hard time with their love languages. So to me, two people that are this compatible and they keep forgetting their own love language, or they did forget it until I kind of said, you know what, you guys got to buckle down. You got to figure out what your love language is, because if you don't know what your love language is, then no one else knows how to love you the best way you like to be loved. That's the bottom line. That's why we want to learn our own love language. Also, by knowing our own love language, we are able to get interested in learning other people's love languages, which is not just your partner's, which is very important, of course. Yes, your partner is very, very important, but also family, if you have children, friends, close friends, and even coworkers. So Love language not only makes amazing or great relationships amazing, but it can also shift a relationship with someone that you may not have a great relationship with, like a coworker, for example. So this is a very powerful stuff, and it's not just about the love languages themselves. It's the combination of what you received love in is what becomes your language of love for that you receive love in. Okay. All right. So this is a change in our program that we're considering implementing. What means enough to you in order for you to make this change? This is the first hurdle. What means enough to you? So you want to create your ideal forever partner. Okay. You're ready to create an epic relationship in your life. In order to do that, that's not just going to happen. You have to be able to handle it when you get it. It's like a dish that you got out of the oven. You've got to have the right mittens. You've got to hold it the right way when you pull it out. If you don't, burn it, you're going to spill it, and you may ruin it. I know that's a weird simile, but that's the best I could come up with right now. So you, number one, have to get what your love language is, because if you have an IFP, they need to know what your love language is in order for you guys to have a great relationship. If you only know what theirs is, then that's not going to work. It's a one-way street. That's not going to work. So you have to know what your love language is. You have to learn what all the love languages are, which is not difficult to learn. And you want to start figuring out, like, take the people that are the closest to you. If you have two best friends, look at them and figure out what their love languages are. And what I mean by that is if they're friends, that doesn't mean it's anything weird. What it means is that you're actually interested in what they become happiest the most. Put the why in front of every change, and you will have excellent results. Journey. I'm going to write and list the 5 main love languages. There are a few others, but these are the 5 main ones, and I want to stay focused on those. So to give everyone a chance to get fluent in those, and then we can always move it up in another layer, later once you are fluent. I'm going to switch my screen so you guys can see. The 5 main love languages are number 1, acts of service. Number 2, physical touch. And I letter coded them. I'm going to show you why I did that later. So S is for acts of service. T is for physical touch. Quality time is Q. Receiving gifts is G. And words of affirmation is A. Our goal in determining our own love language is putting them in order of relevance to us. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take each of them and you're going to put them in the relevance to you, which means you're going to take each one of these and you're going to say acts of service is number 3. So just put them in order of importance. So and I'm going to give you some definitions again to remind you, and I wrote them down so you can look at them. That might be a little easier. And you can also go back and refer back to this. I'm also going to list the perspective of 2 views on each of the love languages. One of them is going to be for the creative way to express that love language, and the other one's going to be for the destructive way that it can show up, so you can understand both of them and you can recognize what they are. You can recognize when somebody's using a love language kind of against you in a way or in a toxic way. I challenge you guys to defend your love language, and I'll tell you why. Because if you have someone that's making fun of your love language, then there's a problem. Okay? Because if you're just now learning about love languages and you just figured out which way you receive love, the last thing you want to do is listen to someone that's making fun of that, because that's not being good to you. So here we go. We're going to start with the acts of service. The acts of service in the creative way they show up is chores around the house, errands that reduce the burden of responsibility, taking out the trash, paying the bills, doing the dishes, like that. Okay? It's not like, being somebody's slave. It's like taking something off of someone else's plate and making their life easier. Some people will find that as the way that they receive love. This love language is about picking up responsibility in small and meaningful ways. Maybe your partner doesn't like doing a certain chore, so you pick that up for them. And it may be vice versa. So this is not a one-way street. Although it's not about, if it's got to be 50-50, otherwise I'm not doing it. We've had a long conversation about that. If you want your relationship to work, it's not about who does what or who did more. It's about you give everything you got and you're all in this relationship. That's the bottom line. And if you look at someone else and you think, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do that because they haven't done anything, then you go back to what I just said. It's about creating a warm and loving relationship. It's about giving everything you got, and it's about being all in. That's what the relationship's about. That's how you create your ideal forever partner. That's how you create an epic relationship. Maybe your partner doesn't like doing a certain chore, so you pick that up for them. It could be as simple as cooking them breakfast, bringing them a cup of coffee, or offering to run an errand when they're short on time or feeling sick. Do one thing each day to make your partner feel special. This is the way. Next, I'm going to show how the acts of service shows up as in a destructive way. Broken commitment and laziness. Okay. The next love language we're going to go over is physical touch. And the creative way it shows up is not necessarily sex, but like warm touch or hugs or cuddling, even massages, back rubs, holding hands, like holding hands in public, holding hands at home, watching TV, thoughtful touch. Enjoying your partner's physical presence. This could be as simple as holding hands, cuddling, a kiss, or hug. If physical touch is high on your partner's list, sexual intimacy may also rank high on their priorities. A person who uses words to express their affection instead of touch may have to work a bit harder to get out of their comfort zone and think about connecting through touch. The destructive way that physical touch shows up is through neglect, also through abuse. The third love language we're going to cover is quality time. The creative way it shows up is valueful and undivided attention above all else. The key here is to give your partner your undivided attention, being there for them, being present when together, one-on-one time with TV off, cell off, etc. While with them makes them feel loved. It makes them feel important. Learn to listen better. Make eye contact more. Spend more time with them instead of office or on the cell. I can't stress here, quality time is about being present. It's being here with that person right now. It's not being in the past. It's not being in the future. It doesn't matter if you're planning the future for them. If the way they receive love is through quality time, then they receive that love through you being in the present, not through you being in the future. Put down your phone and really take in what they're saying. Ask them what they would like to do with you, and then schedule a date to do it. If your partner loves new experiences and date night ideas, this might be that area to focus on. Maybe go on a walk, watch a movie, or pick up a hobby together. Whatever you decide to do, it's important to do it fully with your partner's focus front and center. You can do acts of service while spending time together also. Okay. The destructive way this shows up is canceled or postponed dates are especially hurtful to them. Failure to listen. Don't assume what they'd like to do. Ask them. Choose to be with someone else without transparency. Betrayal. So the toxic way this shows up is canceled or postponed dates, which are especially hurtful. Failing to listen. They assume what you want to do and they don't bother to ask. There's a little ugly game that some people play, and my spiritual mentor used to call it the drive you crazy game. And it's when someone doesn't give you what you want, they give you what they want you to have. So that's how one way this would show up. That's similar to the same thing, which is destructive behavior. Unconditional love is about loving the other person so much that you want to give them everything that they want. Also choosing to be with someone else without transparency, which means like hanging out with other people behind their back or worse. And of course, betrayal is another way that the destructive, toxic behavior of quality time shows up. The fourth love language we're going to cover is receiving gifts. The creative way receiving gifts shows up is the thought behind giving a gift regardless of the cost. So it's not about the cost of a gift or value of a gift. It's not about the cost. The value will be from the receiver. So that's not really something that we can determine. That's what the receiver determines. Roses, jewelry, and any small token of affection. This one is pretty straightforward. It tends to be amplified when important events, holidays, or anniversaries roll around. And you don't necessarily need to go big or go home. A gift can be something as simple as picking up their favorite snack for the next movie night. But don't be cheap or thoughtless. This is about giving your partner what they want, not what is convenient for you to give them. The destructive way that receiving gifts shows up is like missed birthdays or missed special days, forgetting about Valentine's Day or forgetting about anniversaries. Also, thoughtless gifts. They hurt someone that is their love language. The fifth and final love language that we're going to go over today is the words of affirmation. And the creative way that it shows up is genuine compliments, hearing I love you, let your partner know you value them, praise them, reassure them in the relationship, tell them often that you appreciate them, telling your partner what you love about them. Any ways to express this love language, but it doesn't have to stop at words. You can send a thoughtful card, email, or text. Share a meaningful memory, photo, meme, or social media post to drive this home. The destructive way words of affirmation shows up is through insult, making fun of them, and being talked about behind their back. These things are very hurtful for those people whose words of affirmation is their love language. If you haven't gotten clarity on what your love language is, then rank these from 1 through 5, asking yourself this question: how much do I love it when others do this? For example, acts of service for me. Then you go to the next one and you ask yourself the same question: how much do I love it when others do physical touch for me? So when you figure out the physical touch, then you rank that, whether it's above or below the acts of service. And eventually, once you've done all 5, then you will know how they rank as for importance to you. So then we're going to take the coordinating letters and rank this one above the one below. Okay, I told you that. When you have done this to all 5, then you will have 1 as your favorite way you receive love, and number 2 as the secondary way you receive love. So those are the ones we're going to really focus on: the 1 and the 2. So your number 1 and your number 2 that we rank, not the way we have them listed here. The way you resonate are the most important to you, and the most that you feel like that's how you receive love. Write down number 1, one way you receive love, and then write down the secondary way you receive love. Now you have more clarity on how you receive love with your first method and your secondary. For example, my love languages are quality time and words of affirmation. Okay, so my primary way that I receive love is through quality time. My secondary way that I receive love is through words of affirmation. So my love language is Q, a capital Q, and a small a. The Q's for quality time. If you remember, if earlier we letter coded them. Let me just go back again. Let me just show you that right here. We letter coded them. Okay. S for acts of service, T for physical touch, Q for quality time, G for receiving gifts, and A for affirmations. So if your love language, for example, is words of affirmation, then you would have a capital A. And if your secondary is quality time, then you would have a Q, a small q. So your love language would be capital A, small q. Okay. The reason I like doing it this way is because it makes it easy to remember not just what yours is, but it will also help you remember what other people's are, because you will correlate that with them. You can even put that in your phone as far as, and I would recommend putting your own in your phone while you're learning this, because it'll keep reminding you. You won't believe how many times you forget it. But once you get it and you realize how powerful and impactful that is on your life, then your relationships are going to shift completely. Your language of love is how you receive love, equals the combination of the primary method of the number 1 and your secondary number 2. Ask yourself, who have I been in the relationship with or is around me in my circle that knows my language of love, how I receive love? This is the info that you want to share with anyone you love, but might I suggest a subtler way to introduce this to them? First, figure out what that person's love language is. You don't want to just go up to them and say, hey, my love language is this, just so you know. And you know what? I don't know that there's really anything wrong with that, but you know what? Relationships is a two-way street. So by telling them that statement, to me, that's like driving down a one-way street. It doesn't really give them the opportunity to tell you what theirs is. If you can't figure out how to determine their love language, then give them the quiz I created. And this is simple. Tell them that you're on a mission in life to improve and have high quality relationships with your partner, family, friends, and coworkers in your own words. Also share that most people don't have clarity on how they receive love themselves. This should spark an amazing curiosity in them. And once they take the test, ask them if they would consider sharing their results with you if you share your results with them. Suggest that each of you do one simple thing that fulfills the other's love language just for practice. Can you see how powerful this is? It's like you're recommitting to your friendship on the highest level. You will quickly see if this friend is ready to elevate their frequency or whether you will remain the same kind of friend they have been for before. Either way, you will learn a lot about yourself and others choose your partner, friends, and even family wiser. By choosing family wiser, I mean that we all have related family and we have family that we choose. Experiment with your partner, friends, and family, as well as coworkers, and watch the level of relationships you already have rise together like boats in a harbor. How awesome is that? You will also start choosing the people of your inner circle more carefully with a higher purpose and goal in mind. Your higher level friends you choose may become suitable partner candidates and perhaps even an ideal forever partner material. Here you elevated your frequency and those around you by them choosing to do the same, as well as draw high quality people to your inner circle, enriching you with their high level belief system and habits, and yours with them. Become fluent in your own love language and then learn to speak others' love language, and it will allow you to become a fluent master in relationships. This is a simple, practical way to improve your life and those around you that you care about. Become fluent in your own and others' language of love will put you on your path to create everything in your life you desire. Elevating your relationship will make you happy. It will make others in your inner circle happy. Happy people create their dreams because they no longer subscribe to fear or doubt. Now, your new best friend is PMA, positive mental attitude, which enables you to become better and better at solving problems. Master problem solvers need just point their talent into a direction they desire, and everything in their path turns to gold. I want to say that again. Master problem solvers need just point their talent into the direction they desire, and everything in their path turns to gold. This is not something you learn from me. This is something that is part of every human being and our inner knowledge. I'm simply translating it into a message that you can understand prior to accepting the truth. And the truth is that you are an infinite being with infinite possibilities. How do I know this? Because we are the same. And I know that I'm an infinite being with infinite possibilities. It's in our nature, it's in our human nature. We don't actually have to learn how to be infinite beings with infinite possibilities. All we have to do is forget the untruths that counter our natural state. All we have to do is stop being the limited being with limited possibilities. We are actually spending an effort to remind ourselves that is what we are. Because some people are threatened by our strengths and abilities because they are afraid of their own strengths and abilities. I created a 9 or so minute mini course called the real fast track to learning your language of love that promises to give you everything you want in life. If you would like a copy of this fast track and learn how you receive love and how to get fluent in others' language of love, then write, I want that, into the comments. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, and subscribe to the Ideal Forever Partner Magnet podcast. Your support helps us reach more souls in search of their unconditional true love. Check us out everywhere podcasts. Remember, you have the power to create heaven on earth through unconditional love. This is your life, no one else's. Grasp the courage to strive for the highest and best version of you